Morning. So today we are going to discuss an elementary school classroom in a slum device. So this point is basically about class inequalities. About social injustice. About the difference between crabs and rich and poor. Right? So this point is basically about the class inequalities. And these class inequalities refer social injustice. And social injustice makes the gap between rich and poor become wider and wider. Okay, and this gap is prominently, clear in this video.
Yes. The very poem, the very opening of the poem is like the gap, where the poet says that far, far from the gusty waves. Okay, the very beginning of the poem, the line is far, far from the gusty waves. So though I won't be like doing the whole poem as it is, because today we are going to revise only. Our focus will be the MCQs also, but yes, I'll be giving you in nutshell the theme of the poem. So I told you like this poem is about the wide gap between the rich and poor. So the poem starts like far, far from the gusty waves. These children's faces like rootless weeds. So these are the two lines of the poem, first two lines, rather 1.5 line. And these 1.5 lines, speak all about the poem. So far, far, this word far, far from the gusty wave refers to the wide gap between the rich and the poor. So the gusty waves refer to the rich class, the class, the privileged section of the society, which avails all facilities, all amenities of life. Okay, and the life of the children who live in slum area, the life of these children is far away from the life of the children who live in that section of the society which is privileged. So here gusty waves, the meaning of gusty waves literally is strong winds. Okay, strong waves, the strong winds of change, the strong waves of water. Okay, so here literally it is about the strong waves, but these gusty waves actually or metaphorically refer to the life which is privileged, which is, where all amenities or facilities are, gifted to that section. So on the other hand, there are these children who live in that part of the world where there is no facility, no amenity, and the life of these children is unimaginably poor, miserable. So you cannot talk about any similarity between the children of privileged section or the children of the unprivileged section. So life of these children who live in slum area is far away, is far unimaginably miserable than the life of the children who live in privileged section of society. So the very opening far, far word, this repetition, the repetition of the word far it denotes the wide gap between the poor and rich class. Okay, so what's the very poetic device in the very beginning of the poem? It is repetition, and the repetition is there to depict the wide gap between the poor and rich class. And the poet wants to convey that the lives of these children is unimaginably poor, miserable, and pathetic. The kind of life they live is pathetic. You just can't even imagine that kind of life. So these children's faces like rootless weeds. The faces of these children are like rootless weeds. So he compares the children of these slum areas with the rootless weeds. So he says that these children who live in slum are like rootless weeds. So weeds are already unwanted. So these children are unwanted segment of the society. And rootless, they don't have any sense of belongingness. No one owns them. Something which is rootless means they can be uprooted at any moment. Okay, something which is rootless means they don't have any foundation. They don't have any foundational stone upon which they are resting. So the point is that these children, they are unwanted segment of the society whom nobody owns. Got it? So the word like, it shows that the poet is comparing children with the rootless weeds, with the use of like or as. It is a metaphor. Sorry, it's a simile. Clear? I'm talking about the first few lines in details because the opening of the poem is very, very crucial. So once you start the poem in the beginning, then the other lines automatically become a little clearer. And yes, one thing I want to remind in the very beginning, some children did not appear for the test yesterday. Okay, and it is a matter of big shame on you, those who could not do the test. The link was open up till 10 o'clock. And those who are making excuses, ma'am, I could not do this or that, please don't send me personal messages again and again, because once the link is sent, if there is some problem, you can discuss that next day in the class. You can simply send a message, yes, you can talk about your problem, yes, and in the next day, in the class, we can talk about that problem. But yes, when the link, and from next time, the test link will be open for only 1 hour. And today, those students who could not do the test, because these revision tests are important so that you people have an idea like what kind of papers, what kind of MCQs would be there. And these are not the sure short MCQs kinds. Maybe in the exams, you will get far, far more difficult paper than the one which is here. Okay. So these are only a few specimens. Okay. When the teachers make the papers, then they think more deeply, then they have more reference material to make the paper. So this test, these kinds of tests are only the reference samples for you people to see like what kind of questions would be there. But yes, and moreover, secondly, be punctual. Appearing for the school test is more important than anything else in the world. If you say like you were busy for tuitions or this or that, those things will not come and give you assessment in the end. In the end, it is the school will give you assessment on the basis of the way you will perform here. Okay, and moreover, don't irritate the teachers with your messages till 11 o'clock or with 12 o'clock. Kindly, you people have got the facility of online education. You people are comfortably staying at your own places to get the systems done. But please maintain the decorum of the school system. If you people are given 1 hour to do the test, do that within 1 hour from today onwards. Earlier, we were, thinking a little bit about your convenience, like when you people will be free from that, this or that, then you can do. But no, I have seen like when we become a little lenient with you, you people start exploiting, start taking more advantage of that also. So from today onwards, a link will be open not even for 1 hour, it will be open exactly for 25 minutes. You people will be doing 40 MCQs in 90 minutes in the exam. There will be comprehension also. Okay, so the comprehension takes time. So these are simply the MCQs which you just have to read the question and tick. So more than half an hour is not at all required. Today the link will be open of this paper from 12 o'clock to 12:25. Exactly at 12:25 the link will close, and the children, those who have already sent their submitted their responses, need not do it again. I'm giving you a reminder, we have got the spreadsheets, and the spreadsheets are like the award list where we get the complete detail, like which child did the test at which time, at what on which date. So date, time, and your marks all come in our spreadsheet. We need not ask you like how many marks you got. Okay, so there are some children, those who don't know like how the system works, so they try to befool the teachers. Okay, so there is no excuse. Like once you open up the form or the questionnaire, and once when you've done and you submit, later on your phone, that ID will not let you open up the same link again. It's not about the defect in your phone. It is about the system, and the system will work at its own way, in its own way, not as per your wish. Is that clear? So kindly be careful about attempting your paper. Do the paper within 20 to 25 minutes today, and no need to send the response again. If I see any repetition of the response, I will call that child there and then. No child will be doing the response second time. And yes, do it within 20 to 25 minutes so that you get an idea like how you people need to study for the exams. Okay? Is that clear? And don't give me excuses, ma'am, I was busy there or here. If you were busy at some other place, tell those people to come and give you people assessment in the end. In the end, the school will have to manage everything from the record you're giving to school through your tests or through your exams or through your conduct. Kindly be careful about your school assessments or school work. It is for the school, it is for your 12th standard, you are working so hard. And if you don't have time, 20 minutes to appear for your test as per punctuality, no use of doing so many things. And no personal messages on one question, whether it went wrong or it went right. Discuss in the class. Now you can ask me any doubt. I will unmute you. Raise hand. If there is any doubt, raise hand. Come on, raise hand now if somebody has any doubt. Whatever you have any problem, you can discuss right now. And yes, when there is some emergency, you are most welcome. But not to discuss, ma'am, my one question is wrong, ma'am. Please open up the link, I will do it again. Ma'am, my phone went off. Ma'am, I was late in tuitions. What is this? Ma'am, I was busy, I went to sleep. Ma'am, this, ma'am, that. So many children, they were writing messages yesterday. Is this what you people are serious about? Well, so we were talking about this an elementary school classroom in a slum, and we were saying that the children who are there in the slum, those children look like rootless weeds. Why they look like rootless weeds? Because number one, they are unwanted, and secondly, they are not owned by anyone. What do I mean by this when I say that they are not owned by anyone? I mean that no one, not even any political party, no NGO, no philanthrop, no one says that yes, these slum children are ours. Okay, that's why, because nobody owns them, that's why they are in the slum. If somebody would be saying that yes, these children are ours, then these children would not be in the slums. Okay, if you go to a slum and help those people out with some money or with some food or with some packets, that is not, this is not what is required for these children. The first and foremost requirement of the children who live in slum is that their slum should be dissolved into a good colony, the colony which is meant for a civilized society. Is that clear? Don't say that, ma'am, like those people who go and help those people who live in slum, they say they are ours. No. Okay, helping the people in the slum is not a help. Yes, if you want to really help the children, people out over there, then you first have to remove those slum areas and you have to convert them into the civilized places for the civilized people. Yes, this Manvya was there. Manvya, yes. Raise hand again. Manvya, yes.
Ma'am, can you discuss the paper first?
Okay, tomorrow we'll discuss. Now the time is less. Tomorrow we'll discuss the paper in the very beginning. Today, let the
Ma'am,
some
we
children.
don't have the period on Thursday.
Okay. Okay, then let me see. So if I send you the key, then
Oh,
okay, let me check. Let me see. But today some children have to attempt the test also. Let them do. Then I'll send you the key. Okay. Okay. So the poet says that these children's faces are like the rootless weeds. So here when the poet says like rootless weeds, the simile is there. But when we just talk about rootless weeds, what is rootless weeds? Then it is an oxymoron. Okay. So rootless weed is the example of oxymoron. Oxymoron is a poetic device where the two opposite words are put together to convey a meaning. So oxymoron is a poetic device in which two opposite words are put together to convey a meaning. What opposite words? For example, here the poet says rootless weeds. If something is rootless, cannot be a weed, and if something is a weed, it cannot be a rootless. Okay, so rootless words are used to talk about slum children because they are unwanted product of the society and then they are not owned by anyone. Okay, the other examples of oxymoron, how can you remember like what oxymoron is? You remember an example of dead sure. When you say that you are dead sure, it is an example of oxymoron. If you are dead, you cannot be sure, and if you are sure, you cannot be dead. Okay, this is an example of oxymoron. Okay. So the poet says that these children are like the rootless weeds. Then in order to convey, in order to, say like how these children are rootless weeds, the poet has in the very first stanza described the physical condition of the children. So physically, how do these children look like? First, he says like there is a child whose hair is torn around his pallor. So there is a child whose hair are all strewn around his pale face. So hair strewn around his pale face means that he has got number one, he is anemic, malnutrition, and then hair torn around means that he is unkempt. He is not at all, very particular about his appearance. He might not even have taken bath. He might not ever have combed his hair. He has just come to school like that only. So here the point is not just about the way these children are looking filthy or dirty or unkempt or pale. The idea is also about the kind of unhygienic conditions where these children live, where they might not even have an access to the basic facility like water or hygienic elements, the things which are required to keep oneself clean. So those children might not have any access to those kinds of things. Then he talks about another child who is thin, like thin like a paper. So very thin. So then there is a very weak child, very thin child, a paper seeming boy. Paper seeming boy is a thin child. Then there is another child who has inherited the disease of bones from his father. So then there is a child who is deformed. He has got a stunted growth. Okay, then there is a stunted, the child who is deformed and has inherited the disease of bones from his father. So basically, this is an irony that basically the children, inherit money, property, wealth from their parents. But here, these slum children, they inherit disease from their parents. Such is the irony of the lives of these children, that they have inherited poverty and diseases from their parents. Then the poet says that there is a boy who has got rat's eyes. So the boy with the rat's eyes. One boy was a paper seeming boy. Then there is a boy who has got rat's eyes. So the rat's eyes are the eyes which are constantly in search of food. So here the boy with the rat's eyes is again a metaphor. So the eyes like a rat. Why eyes like a rat? Because a rat is always in search of food. Similar way, there is a boy whose eyes seem to be constantly in search of food. So rat's eyes is a metaphor to convey that the children are malnutritioned, they are hungry, they are starving, and their condition is even worse than that of animals. So then there is a girl who is bent down with the responsibilities, or maybe because of the embarrassment. So then there is a girl who is actually taller than the children of her age. So it doesn't mean that she has gained height and has become taller, but she is taller because she is overaged. She should not have been in this elementary class. She should have been in higher classes. Maybe, so she should have been in higher classes, but what is she doing in the elementary class in the school? Because she has been, snubbed by the responsibilities of her life, that she has not been able to go to the secondary or the higher classes, and she is there. So she is bearing the brunt of embarrassment, or even of, you can say, shame. So she has been snubbed by the responsibilities, or of burdens, or of, you can say, embarrassment. So you can be asked, like, why is she embarrassed? Maybe she is taller than her age. She's taller than the other children of the class because she is overaged. Why is she overaged? Because she might have not been able to, she might not have been promoted to the senior classes, higher classes, because she might have been, because of the responsibilities she had been sharing at home. So these are the children. But in this class where these children are, one is like, somebody has got twisted bones, somebody is very thin, somebody has got rat's eyes, somebody has got head bent down with shame. So somebody has got hair strewn around his face. So amidst these children, who is there? There is one sweet child in that class who is unnoted, sitting at the back of the class. So there is one sweet child who is sitting at the end of the class. And what is that child doing? He is not in this class mentally, but is lost in the game of squirrel. So that child is sweet because he is not mentally present in this dim, dull, or monotonous class. Rather, he is thinking about a game played by the squirrel in the tree room. So why is this child sweet? Because at least he has his imagination still working. At least still he can imagine. So children, imagination is the mother of invention. Imagination is the mother of all growth. So if you want to grow up, if you want to do anything, then you must not ever leave imagination. Right? Imagination is what makes you alive. So all these children have been snubbed by the ugliness of the slum, but there is only one child who is still living and celebrating the beauty, thereby imagining the game of squirrel. So he's still celebrating freedom, maybe in his mind. So this boring and monotonous classroom is of no interest to this child, because he has a far better world in his imagination, that is the world of freedom, that is being portrayed by the world of squirrel. So what is he doing? He is imagining the game of squirrel. He is thinking about the game of squirrel. So that gives him that makes him seek freedom. That makes him seek beauty. Okay, which is otherwise absent in this kind of boring classroom. This was the first stanza. And the second stanza, the poet talks about the condition of the classroom. And that condition of the classroom is the one where the children are, where the class is very dull. The look of the class is very dull. So on sour cream walls. So what are sour cream walls? These are the walls of the classroom which have been distastefully painted. So many years ago, they might have been painted with white color, but today that color has become off-white. That has become, creamish. Not even like very nicely cream color. It's a sour cream. Why sour cream? Because that sour cream color has got faded. Okay, it has got dim over the years. Many years ago, it might have been painted with white or cream color, but today that cream color has become dirty over the years. And on those cream colored, on those dirty walls, there are, either the pictures or the sceneries or the atlas and all. The purpose of all these things, maybe the map, maybe Shakespeare's head, maybe the landscapes of Austria and all. The purpose of all those things is to make children seek beauty from the class or from the situations. But the reality is these all things, maybe Shakespeare, maybe map, or maybe the beautiful sceneries of the world, these are all irrelevant for these children, because for these children, their world is slum, not the world which they can see through the map. Why are these things irrelevant? Because for them, their world is slum, which they can see through the window of the class. Okay, when they will open up the window of the class, from there they will see the slum, nothing else. Then why to show them the world which is projected through the map? Because the map will never show them the slum where they live. So point is not that you put the slum in the map. The point is that you delete the slum from this world and let them also live in this civilized world which they deserve. Right? So the poet says that all these things, maybe the map or maybe the beautiful sceneries of the world, or maybe the Shakespeare's bust or the statue, all these things are irrelevant, because these things are not required for these children. Their need, first of all, their need is a life worth of a human being. Right? So children, time is over. I'll pick up this lecture in the next class. Okay, the link will be open from 12 o'clock to 12:25.